All right, and with that, I am hearing word that we are now ready for our penultimate run. It's Mass Effect 2 with Demonic Robots. Good luck.
All right, hey there, everybody. My name is DemonicRobots, and welcome to Mass Effect 2. I am joined by my fellow co-commentators and also other runners, Sanjan and Mike Wave. If you guys want to say hi.
Hey everyone, I'm Sandra and I speedrun Mass Effect 1 and 2. I also speedrun a bunch of other various RPGs.
My name is Mike. I go by Mike Wave on Twitch, and I also run Mass Effect 1 and 2. Ran this game quite a lot.
Yeah, just a little bit. But yeah, so before we get started here, we have a bid war that we need to figure out the winner of, and that was for which Shepard are we going to be doing. So is that going to be Bro Shep or Fem Shep?
All right, and it looks like the winner by $1 is Broshep.
Wow, I think this is a Mass Effect first. Usually it's Fem Shep, but Bro Shep, that works too. You know, we gotta give him some love for the OG.
Justice for Mark Meer.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get started. Timer starts a little bit weirdly in this game. If you guys have played Mass Effect 2, you know that there is a very long opening, which basically ends up with the Normandy crashing and Shepard dying. We actually skip that entirely in the run because it's basically just a cutscene, and we start out right here. So time is gonna start when I do the very first input. So if we are ready on timer, I can get started.
I believe we are.
All right, time is gonna start when I move, so I'll do a countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. So right now what ended up happening, I'm actually gonna let one of my co-commentators, maybe Sanjan, if you could explain the kind of lore going on right now.
Yeah, so what Demonic is doing, Shepard in Mass Effect 1, did the good thing, and then Shepard kind of took the L, and then Cerberus revived him, so we're 2 years from in between Mass Effect 1 and 2, and then he wakes up in a lab, and now we're basically, someone's yelling at us to grab stuff, and now we're just speeding our way through. One of the tricks that you saw immediately was sort of kind of like the charge bug, so like whenever he charges someone and then go into the menu and back, it basically skips the animation and makes it go really fast. Charge is part of a class called the Vanguard, which is kind of like the in-your-face biotic class.
Yeah, and that's what allows us to get that ability. We have like a very specific setup and for armor and all that for our speed runs. This is also New Game Plus, so I do want to point that out. So we do have the armor and weapon options from a previous playthrough, which is not a super big difference, but it is different enough to warrant its own category.
Yeah, in this game, like, I think New Game Plus only saves about, like, a minute and a half or so over New Game, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, in New Game, you basically, the first half of the game is pretty much very different. It's New Game, you don't get overpowered weapons later, which we'll talk about, but yeah, you saw, as you noticed as well, you saw the mod basically kind of like speed through all the dialogue. We basically have legal keybinds to down the kind of like scrolling, mashing space through like a mouse wheel, or you can use a backward and find like a keyboard key if you don't have a mouse with a free scroll.
Yeah, so it basically makes it so we don't have to buy a G502 or something like that, and it's also just easier on the hands too. We also do play with a speedrun mod. Normally these aren't really, well too liked in the speedrunning community. However, it's mostly just to cut out some pre-rendered cutscenes, which pause the timer, and we don't want it to. So it's basically just more convenience purposes. But if you were not playing with the speedrun mod, you'd actually probably get a faster time. But here we are on Freedom's Progress. So what I just did right there is something called an elevator. The way that the game rounds off geometry when you collide with it is kind of weird. It likes to like kind of shoot you up to the top. And there's a lot of invisible walls in this game. So even though these walls are kind of tiny looking, a lot of them will carry us super high up, which is very convenient for us as speedrunners. And this is going to be a great example of this.
Yeah, this is like by far like probably one of the biggest bugs in the game that even BioWare was aware of. I think when they were developing the game, that they heavily patched. I think come Mass Effect 3, because a lot of people were actually getting themselves like soft locked like really easily with the elevators, and they didn't know about this other trick that Demonic is doing called a melee abuse, which allows us to get past these invisible barriers that Shepard is getting stuck on by just moving backwards and then meleeing. It gives us a little bit of momentum forward and allows us to get past some of this collision right here. Basically allows us to like just navigate our ways like around out of bounds.
Yep. So I'm gonna do a kind of a small little dialogue skip right there, and pull this out. So we have our first little fight. Oh, okay. Come on. There we go.
Yeah,
there we go.
saves time on tally talking, but for some people it does crash through.
All right, so right here.
Just you can go ahead.
Yeah, so right here, Demonic's about to do a newer thing that was discovered not too long ago, where if he shoots a couple of rockets right here, that's where Tali is standing right there, while you go talk to Vitor over here. And if you shoot enough rockets from your grenade launcher, it just causes her to ragdoll, and then it's just going to skip the second half of this cutscene right here. Yeah, it just immediately goes to the end, like right there. It saves about 10 seconds. It's a really, really nice find.
Yeah, so now here we're kind of... It's kind of slightly open world. We have to go recruit a bunch of squad mates. These squad mates are actually kind of mandatory for us, so first person that will recruit is Gordon. It's kind of like a Solarian scientist. But here we're also going to switch to our weapon. As I said earlier, New Game Plus, you get these weapons immediately, but in game you don't. So instead of using like the Maddock and then the cane, you would basically just use the rocket launcher and the good old GIF plasma shotgun, which is pretty good, but not as good as the weapons that we have.
Yeah, like all the weapons that we get from the DLC pack. And by the way, this run is with all DLC allowed. He didn't do it right here, but come next segment, we're gonna go ahead and grab Zaid, who's over there. The two like DLC squad mates, Zaid and Kasumi, are just both really, really fast. We normally grab Kasumi in the any percent route, but I guess since we're doing No One Left Behind, we're not actually going to be getting her. But Zaid is like just faster in like every category though.
Yeah, the main reason for this is because they don't need a recruitment mission. Most characters need a recruitment and loyalty, but Zaid and Kasumi were just like, hey, I'll join you, you know, already. So that really helps out.
Yeah, and No One Left Behind, though, we are not going to grab Kazumi just because she's not needed. And instead, in her place, we're going to be grabbing...
Oh, I teleported the wrong guy. Should be able to just restart the mission, honestly.
Okay, we forgot to explain like something that happened before starting the Morden mission. So what Demonic did was something called a Bobby drop. So basically, what he did was basically kind of like go through the window and then kind of elevator to the top and basically drop down their Bobby the person where you start the Morden mission. It's basically skips us having to like run all the way there and go through the doors.
Yeah, like it's not as big of a skip as it might seem, but being able to get past the doors does save like a couple of seconds though.
Oh, looks like that didn't.
Yeah, you're not going enough to the left, I don't think.
Yeah, sometimes these skips can be a little weird, especially this one, because you have to like interact with the enemies in like a very specific way.
Yeah, so he has to charge one of these enemies right here and then touch the barrier on the left, and then that's going to go ahead and make it so this door should open up.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, this game kind of has like a lot of like weird little quirks about it like that, especially with how we interact with enemies. This charge ability is, you know, really overpowered, but also kind of wonky. Like basically what the game is trying to do is it is trying to take you to the enemy, but it doesn't want to take you to some of them because a lot of them are out of bounds. So the charge is a little weird because sometimes it like won't go to the right enemies. This is Morden's clinic skip. Normally we're supposed to be talking to Morden, who is a companion that we're intending to recruit in order to fight against the main bad guys in this game, the collectors. They basically have a special like bug parasite that will paralyze you, and he's going to be able to help create a basically like a barrier against that for our armor. But first he wants us to go help with a cure that he's trying to make and implement into this district that's like under a plague. And basically, we have to go put the cure into the vents before we can actually recruit him. Usually, you're supposed to have like a dialogue with him where he explains all of this, but that skips kind of just enables us to avoid it completely.
We kind of want to grab him as soon as possible because he's actually going to be one of the two main squad mates we're using. The other being Miranda, the first one of like the very first we grabbed. Miranda and Morden together are just like extremely powered, especially Miranda.
Yeah, Miranda is straight up like the best squad mate in the entire game. It's like I think she was intentionally made by the devs to be overpowered because she has a passive ability called Cerberus Officer, which basically makes it so everyone in the party with her just does an extra 10% damage from their weapons. It's really, really overpowered, along with Warp and Overload, which are both just like excellent, like just DPS abilities.
It also helps that like we literally have her from the very beginning of the game, so she's very accessible. It should be kept in mind that even though this is going to be no one left behind, meaning we get the best ending where no companions die, we are not going to be getting every single companion. We're only getting the minimum amount that we need to actually beat the game. Also, Jacob was dead there, which is actually really nice because we get to skip his dialogue. So let's go Jacob dying.
Yeah, if Jacob doesn't die, you kind of lose like 4 seconds. Just plays his dog first.
Yeah. So now that we got Morden and Miranda are going to be basically the companions that we use from now on. The only exception to that is sometimes on missions where we don't really need to do combat, we'll grab Garrus because it's like 0.5 seconds faster to do so, but we're not going to really use any other companions for actual utility.
It should be mentioned as well that part of the reason we grab Morden first as well is because it unlocks the lab over here to the right. And this also, along with the AR upgrade that we find towards the beginning of the Morden mission, which allows us to upgrade like our assault rifles from the get-go. It's just like a really, really nice upgrade to get like immediately at the start of the run.
Yeah. But now we are going to get everybody's favorite companion, Gamer Garrus, who is pretty much, not really utilized in this game, but, it's still Garrus, so... We're also going to grab Zaid here. Again, this is one of the DLC characters. As you can see, it was much easier to recruit him because, every other character needs a like specific mission where you have to do a bunch of stuff in order to get them onto the Normandy, except for Zaid right there and Kasumi, but we don't get Kasumi. You just have to talk to him and he's like, oh, cool. All right, I'm joining your ship now. For the games to progress, this is an open world game, but for the game to progress and to create the main mission stories, which is what we want, you need to kind of hit 2 parameters. You need to hit a certain amount of missions that you have completed, and you also need to have a certain amount of companions. There are a couple specific ones that we do need to grab for ship upgrades, which is one of the requirements that in order to get the No One Left Behind ending. But yeah, basically it's going to be mission progression and companions, and he helps fulfill that parameter.
Also, I should mention right here, by the way, is that part of the reason we run the speedrun mod is because that interaction that we did right there, if you're playing as FemShep, you get an extra like Renegade pop-up, or I think it's a Paragon pop-up that shows up periodically, and it costs about 5 seconds if you're playing FemShep, so the mod takes that out just so both FemShep and BroShep are like the same speed.
Yeah, it's just really nice conveniences, so the runners can enjoy the game to the max potential.
Also, what were you gonna say, Sandra? I'm sorry.
I was gonna note that we're playing for No One Left Behind. We're actually not going to recruit every single squad mate. That title goes to all loyalty missions.
Yeah.
Which is another really cool category, but it's a lot more stuff.
It's like twice the length of this category as well.
Coming up here is one of the harder kind of clips. Like, it's very similar to the elevator to the top here, but you kind of the loading screens here to your advantage to kind of like get across the screen like this. That just skips you having to talk to a bunch of people. And
yeah,
here.
It's really weird too, because like depending on how your PC loads, it could just like not work sometimes.
These are like 2 of the hardest like elevators probably that you have to do back to back. Especially if you're newer to the run and stuff. Like the first one could be really, really tricky.
So, I'll let you guys explain this area.
Yeah, so we have to kill these 3 enemies here, or 4 enemies here, for this kind of first door here. And you're gonna do knowledgeable runners or like very experienced runners are gonna reset a lot here because got gamer Garrus, and sometimes you don't want Garrus to be a big gamer because if he kills too many mobs, we basically get extra ads. So this is probably one of the hardest segments to be able to do very fast. So first
Yeah,
thing simple, you just have to kill these mechs here.
Almost got it in one clip. You can sometimes kill all these mechs of one clip, and it saves like a tiny bit of time. But yeah, it's really really tough. This is definitely like one of the hard, like the more RNG areas, I would say, in the early game.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to go for
right
record
here.
times, you reset a lot.
So what Demonic is doing right here is he's waiting a little bit for these enemies to come inside the base. The way this part works, as we learned from one of the QA devs a long time ago, apparently, the story goes the QA people for this game found that the quickest way to end the segment is to literally just let the enemies come inside the base. And then you just kill 4 of them once they're inside, and then that immediately ends that segment. Because if you just keep killing them on the bridge, they just like keep spawning over and over again. However, because it relies on like the enemy pathing, it could just be really, really random. You could just like lose runs because Garrus killed too many enemies on the bridge, and just none of them went inside the base, or like one of them got lost, etc., etc. It can be really, really annoying.
Yeah. So I did that kind of safe right there. This part's also a little bit dangerous because you can die pretty easily in a lot of areas. We are playing on the easiest difficulty, but this is a cover-based shooter game, and it is a game from like the 360 era, where easy in this is not like what easy is now. So it's still very, very easy to die in this game accidentally.
Yeah, especially because it's meant to be a cover shooter. So if you're not in cover, you get punished like really, really hard.
Yeah, even on casual, just like you're basically running every single. You're basically running through all the enemies, so it's still like you're gonna get hit a lot, and a lot of times you're just gonna be at like very low HP. But thankfully,
along with
we have
that,
tools around that, but you'll kind of see more of that a little later. But this second part is just gonna be us sealing the shutters. Garrus has a little bit of a skill issue, so.
Plus, in like a lot of areas in the game, there's some areas where like we have a quick save option, like that's something that we can utilize a lot. However, you can only use it depending on what your ammo is. If one of you wants to explain how the autosave bug works.
So this is a bug. It's a bug that's been known about for a long time, but it's something that was only implemented into the route as it is like about a year or two ago. But basically, we play this game now with autosaves turned off. And the reason for that is once you complete the first level, which is Lazarus Station, the game will just like get bugged with tracking your ammo, and we'll just reset it to the max amount, which in our case is 10. And we want it to be like that because the way it is, the game keeps track of your heavy weapon ammo. So if you use too much of it, then like you have to get it back from like these designated drops and all that. So because of the heavy weapon that we're going to be using for the most of the run, which is the Cane, which is like the nuke launcher, which uses a lot of ammo, we have just enough to fire it. So by playing with the game with autosaves turned off, the game is just not able to keep proper track of our heavy weapon ammo count. So we just always have enough for one shot for the Cane, like per mission, which speeds up the game quite a lot because the Cane is just so insanely overpowered.
I think you're right. Derek's got the toughest group.
Yeah. So this is another combat fight. This is actually probably the like most combat you'll see in one level outside of the very last one. But basically, you have to be very careful here. If you kill this enemy right here too early, what ends up happening is the game will soft lock. So we want to like kind of give it some time just to make sure like everything is okay. Probably let that go on a little bit longer than I needed to, but I'd rather play this safe.
Yeah, you should be
than
good
sorry.
now. Yeah, once you see like the ship in the back like firing into the building, like you're good. Like the game isn't soft locked, but this part is really weird. Even if you like wait a little bit, sometimes the game will just bug out anyways and soft lock you. It's really really weird. Ooh, I think you have bad RNG here as well. This drop, like you lose like 5 seconds, I think, if that lady drops in late.
Yeah, it's always kind of weird because especially like with this delay, sometimes enemies will. Yeah, that was a really bad drop. Jeez. Normally there's 2 shielded enemies that will like pop up here. However, sometimes it's only 1. I guessed wrong. That's fine.
This should be the last guy.
Yeah. Sometimes it like only one of them spawns in. And I even had like one time where like neither of the shielded enemies came in, which was really weird.
So yeah, this is our first usage of the cane. As you can see, it is a devastatingly strong weapon. You fire it one time and it just kills everything. It even does damage to Shepard. We are able to survive one hit of the cane so long as we have shields up. The way that works is that so long as you have even a sliver of your shields, after your shields are gone, you have like iframes for a little bit before you can start taking damage again. So we were able, because the cane only does one burst of like a lot of damage. So long as you have shields up, you will not die from the cane. But yeah, as you saw it right there, used it to kill the boss. We're going to be using it to kill a lot of the tougher enemies and bosses that we encounter in the game, just to speed everything up.
Yeah. And also you saw right there, I like left the galaxy and I came back in. That's because depending on the icon of like your ship when you're entering a galaxy, wherever that's faced, it'll put you like on that side. So if you're like facing towards the left, you'll end up on like the right side and so on and so forth. And that's kind of a way that we can get to the mass relays faster in some other planets as well. So this is our first like non-tutorial-ish recruitment mission where we're going to be picking up a biotic companion named Jack, who is not as important in the any percent, but is really important in this category. She's going to be one of the companions that we need to do a loyalty mission for. So
Yes. So in order to save, oh, bad orange. In order to save everyone, you need to do a loyalty mission, because later on, like you'll see it later on, but you know everyone's got personal problems that you know they gotta fix up before going on this like big mission to save the world, and then Shepard gets to basically play therapist for everyone. But we're gonna do the least amount of loyalty mission, basically to save everyone. And how that works is that there's kind of like types of groups, and then basically you need a biotic, tech person, and a leader.
So yeah, we're going to be pulling out the cane here as well. There's a room with a lot of enemies that we need to kill coming up right here. And as you can imagine, the fastest way to deal with this room is with the cane. So Demonic is going to charge an enemy right here, and then he's just going to start charging up the cane because it has a little bit of a charge up before you fire it. And then we're just going to shoot it at the ground, and that's going to go ahead and just wipe out the room for us, and we can just immediately move on. So as you see right there, like we are not going to be able to use the cane again for this mission. However, come next mission, we're going to have all our ammo back due to the autosave bug. But yeah, so coming up right now, this is like probably one of the hardest strats in the entire run, I would say. And it's very, very crucial if you're going for like a top time in this game, which we call Fast Warden. So what you're going to have to do right here, I'm going to let Demonic do this really fast.
Ah, no, I didn't get it. That's a shame.
That's unlucky, yeah. This part is like really, really random as well. This is another big reset point. So what Demonic was trying to do here is he was trying to kill the warden, who is like the boss of this area, before those shields went up. And you only have, I think, around like 5 seconds or so before the bubble goes up where he's vulnerable. So within like that 5-second window, you basically just have to like hit him with all your abilities from Shepard, Morden, and Miranda, and hit like enough headshots to basically kill him. It's really, really tight. It's really, really hard on New Game Plus. Ironically, it is much harder, I would say, on New Game Plus compared to New Game, where it's pretty free, actually.
Yeah, because when you're playing on New Game Plus, you have the grenade launcher, which helps out, which we do not have on this category, and sadly.
Yeah, and also a new game, like enemy HP is just like generally they're much more squishier than New Game Plus because of the level scaling.
Yeah. So that is another thing to mention, is that the game is actually harder, like a bit on New Game Plus, which might seem ironic. Like New Game Plus is usually like considered easy. However, in this game, along with Mass Effect 1 to like a lesser extent, because of the level scaling, enemies are just like way tankier and do like way more damage on New Game Plus. So it's something you actually have to be kind of like you have to be kind of concerned about, especially on No One Left Behind, where we're doing extra missions. So we tend to hit the level cap like much faster.
Yeah, when it comes to like leveling, I think we start out at like level 12, which is like we calculated to be like the or the like lowest that you could be with still beating the game, because we don't want to be like level 30 and have to go against like level 30 scaled enemies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
level 30, basically enemies like especially the mechs are just basically like
Yeah, the heavy,
unkillable.
yeah, the heavy mechs legit just do not die at level 30 without like the cane and stuff. It's pretty horrible. Ooh.
Yeah, a little bit bad luck. That's all right. Those guys can be a little bit annoying up there. But here we go. We're getting our first, I guess it's technically a non-RNG, but RNG puzzle. We're going to be coming up against a door lock, and we need to open it as quickly as we can. And we're basically going to have to match up a bunch of icons together. It's not RNG per se, but there's basically like 40 or 50 patterns that it could have. But once you recognize the patterns, you can like just do it really quickly. I can't do it really quickly. Sanjan and Mike both can like do it without any issues. It's really impressive to watch in their runs with how confident they are, but I'm just not as much.
Yeah, the thing with these is that they like it's like the amount of like places that they are is random, but there's kind of like sort of a pattern to it. So the way to do it is just to memorize the ones that are 100% certain to be matched, and then basically kind of go from there.
Yeah, there's like no real shortcut to getting good at the puzzles. Like you just have to have like enough experience and have done enough puzzles to basically
That's annoying.
bad RNG right here. Yeah, just you have to have done enough of the puzzles basically until you just like recognize the patterns like really easily.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you're gonna need to use Unity right here as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is like my least favorite mission in the entire run because it's weird like how the enemies work in this one, and they're really hard to teleport to sometimes, as you saw right there. I don't really know why. This is like the only mission where it's like egregiously bad. But like, for example, if I didn't use Miranda's ability Warp on that guy, it would literally not let me teleport to him whatsoever. I think it has to do with like this map being weird and how they depict like enemies as being out of bounds.
Yeah, this entire area is just super jank, especially if you've labbed it. Like we have labbed this area pretty thoroughly because there's only one skip, but there's another skip that we know of on this mission that would allow us to skip that puzzle door actually, but unfortunately it is slower compared to like just charging to the door and just doing the puzzle like normally.
Yeah, so basically we're talking to this warlord here who's supposed to recruit and he asks us to do something. And obviously there's a boss we have to fight, so we fix all of our boss issues. Kane here, the good old Kane.
Yep. If I remember which button to press to pull it out.
You have to time this so that like open it as when the door closes, and then you'll shoot the.
Ooh.
That's bad. I think we should just be able to do the fight normally here.
Yeah, there's gonna be.
This is gonna be
a mech
pretty
coming.
slow.
Yeah.
'Cause I think you have to kill both Jador right here and a heavy mech.
Yeah. Also the Krogan odds.
In the meantime, I think we should have some time for donations if we want to get those done.
Sounds good to me. There's $20 here from Todd's Haitian Median. Okay. Well, I took German in high school, so I hope I didn't bungle that too much. He goes on to say, thank you so much for having me. It was an awesome race. I can't stay any longer because it's almost 3 a.m. now, but enjoy the rest of the marathon. This is followed by $10 from Captain Kate, who says, what a massively effective fastest FursFall Fest 2022. Well done, everyone. And I do have a really neat announcement. We have opened the final incentive, the After Alterna bonus level for Splatoon 3. That will, of course, close after the Splatoon 3 run. That's set at $1,500. But if we meet it, when we meet it, we will have a new Fastest Furs donation total PB. Get your donations in.
Awesome. I think we have time for one more.
I don't have too much more to say. Y'all should fix that. There is the Inkling versus Octoling bid war coming up as well. It looks like Octoling is currently in the lead with $32 to Inkling's 26. So that is within sniping distance for Inkling. And that will close at the beginning of the next run.
Awesome. So this is one of the like main missions. The game kind of has like doesn't open up until after this mission. It gives you like, oh, you have to recruit these people. Basically just kind of guides you along and gets you to this point. But after this Horizon one is like where the game really starts to open up. casually. But basically what's going on here is there's a group called the Collectors that we've been fighting who are kidnapping humans for nefarious purposes. And we have finally basically caught them in the act. So every other time, like we've basically came after the colonies have already been kidnapped. Now we're actually coming to them while they're like under siege. There's a couple of main missions here that basically progress the game in certain ways, and this is like one of the bigger ones. The next one won't be until we actually go to a collector ship. Normally, this is where any percent and no one left behind would start to diverge, is after this mission. This is also where the bid war would have, or the incentive would have been cut off, but you guys were so awesome that you got the no one left behind incentive before we even got here, so great job on that part. But yeah, basically, this is like one I think that's gone over like a lot of changes in the route and the run over the years.
Yeah, when I first started running this game, we were doing this first half of this mission like legit, and then I found out by watching some of Jade's like IL runs that there was actually this huge out of bounds you could do at the beginning right there that Demonic just did that allows us to skip to like the second half of the mission basically. And then this is a thing my buddy Zirian found out labbing this game. So we used to go all the way around and do a different elevator setup, but we found this new one right here, which I'm gonna go ahead and let Demonic do this.
Okay, I think I should be able to save it. We're good.
All right, nice. Yeah. So that was like probably the trickiest part of the skip right there. But basically what we're doing is we're like weaving in and out between like two load zones, and by weaving out of the load zone and then going back in with a melee as Shepard is falling, it's going to go ahead and load us back into this wall that is like much higher actually, and that's going to give us enough like height to like go all the way to this final room right here. Like this is by far like one of the most busted missions in the game, just because of like just how many skips there are. Like we just go straight to the end basically, and it's still pretty long because we have this final fight coming up. And also Demonic I think got some bad RNG right here. This is like by far also the most RNG part of the entire run, which is the Horizon puzzle. Once you're going for a really good time in this game, the Horizon puzzle is just like your worst nightmare basically, because it is just so bad. It is like an auto scroller puzzle that like we just have to wait until the game just shows us the solution to the hacking puzzle. It's not like the node puzzles, which we can potentially solve really fast. The Horizon puzzle, like it is just up to the game, like how fast you can do it, and it can be really annoying once you're going for like an optimized time in this game.
Yeah. Thankfully it's a marathon, so it's not that big of a deal if I get a bad puzzle, but it's still not amazing.
Yeah, like if you're going for an optimized like any percent time, you could just like lose 15 seconds or something like that just from the puzzle, like just not giving you the right solution immediately, and it's yeah, it's pretty annoying. But yeah, it's not too big a deal in a marathon. So right here we have to do this big Horizon fight, this climactic fight. Normally this fight is like really hard, especially if you're playing on like Insanity or something like that. This is like probably one of the toughest fights in the game. Because we are playing on casual though. Luckily the enemies die pretty fast. We have to be pretty careful though. This is another area where like you could die like really easily if like you're not paying attention. And now what Demonic is going to do is a setup for a quick kill on this boss. So if he times this correctly, he's going to shoot this wall with the cane right before the cutscene and then skip the cutscene, and we're going to basically just kill the boss like the first frame the boss like spawns in, and that's just going to give us like an immediate cutscene right here. It saves a lot more time than it might seem like.
Yeah, it skips the fight. It skips also a bunch of dialogue too, which is really nice. So yeah, it's very important to get that quick kill, and it can be very difficult because if you do it too early or too late, you have to do the fight like normally or like reset.
And what you're seeing Demonic do right here is we're talking to Jacob. You actually talk to Jacob in every category right here. But talking, like he is one of the first two squad mates who you can get their loyalty mission. The other one being Miranda. As soon as Horizon is over, it unlocks the loyalty missions. However, before we get some of the other loyalty missions, we have to do a couple of missions first to progress the game. But talking to Jacob unlocks this extra galaxy that we're going to be going to after this next mission. So even on any percent where we don't do any loyalty missions, we still talk to Jacob. And he also talked to Jacob to get the ship part that he sells. It's 1 out of 3 ship parts that we need before we go to the end of the game so that nobody dies going to the collector base.
Yeah, when you start the final mission, there's a check for all 3 of the ship parts. The other 2 ship parts are with Garrus and Tally, who are recruiting here. And as you
Okay.
see, that RNG. So with Tally, there's a bunch of huge skips that we do. This one's dubbed the longest elevator because it zooms you way up.
Yeah, you
And
go
this
almost
skips,
like up to the skybox, basically.
This basically
There we go.
skips like having to go through like going to like open a bunch of gates. So we're basically skipping like half of Tally's mission, essentially.
Yeah, it also
Yeah.
skips pretty much spawning all the enemies, which is really nice too. Oh, it might have
That
landed
might
a little
be
bit. That might be. a
Yeah,
problem.
I think you ran out of stamina like too early. This is like a pretty tricky
That's
elevator
fine.
to do.
Yeah, because like you have to be careful because if you go like too far left, you like fall off to the side. But you want to like go enough that that doesn't happen.
You basically need to be running while you're falling to get enough momentum as Shepard to go past this invisible wall, so that you can like complete the skip, basically.
That should be better.
And you
This
can't
game-
go too much to like the right either, or else you're basically gonna fall down to. I think that should be.
Think that was good? Yeah,
There we go. Yeah. The good thing is about these skips as well is they make it so you don't actually have to like fight pretty much anything in this map except for like the very last part. Because usually you have to do like a bunch of fighting with the Geth and all that stuff in this area, and here you just don't have to do that.
And the last boss here, you basically just throw the cane on it. So
Yeah. Something that we haven't talked about too much that has happened a couple times is sometimes when you're charging enemies, it just straight up won't work and you'll kind of just like stand still. There's usually, it can happen in almost anywhere, but there's like usually areas that's like more likely to happen basically.
Yeah.
And the last charge that we do in this area is one of those.
Yeah,
some
there's
of
like
the
a
charges you have to like aim directly at the middle of like their body, or else like fail your charge.
Yeah, before we found out about that, this is like by far the worst charge in the game, but now it's like pretty consistent with the setup we have.
Okay, there we go.
As you
Loading
see,
in.
we're like just going for the void right here. Like we're
Yeah.
basically, so normally casually what you have to do is you go to that pillar right there, or you try going to that room and then a pillar falls and like blocks the entrance, and then you need to do a bunch of fights to get these like C4 charges to blow up the pillar, and that allows you to finally go into the room and progress to this part. But however, using the elevators, we can just go ahead and just skip all that.
And it's also a scary part because Gaff here can pretty much kill you really fast, but thankfully Anna got there
I did a
fast
slow. I'm
enough,
gonna
so
hit. Yeah. Okay, that should be good.
we're basically gonna talk to Cal Rieger here. Press F for our boy and charge up our cane and kill Gaff here.
Yeah,
You
that
only
was
need to
actually
kill the
really
Gaff.
good. Whew.
Yeah. You only need to kill a Gaff here, unless like you're too slow, then add spawn. But yeah. So we never save Cal Rieger in this run because if you choose the Paragon option to try to save him, there's a bunch of unskippable dialogue, and Shepard's
Yeah.
allergic to unskippable dialogue. Sorry, Cal Rieger.
On the bright side, though, we do get the best companion, Tally, in here. Normally, you do not get her in any percent. The reason that we get her here, because basically with the game, you need to like have specific like specialists for certain roles. And Tally fits the role to go into the vents, which we need her to do later on. There is another character, Kasumi, that we can get who could work, but A, she has like kind of a horrendous loyalty mission, and B, she does not have the required ship upgrade. So because she doesn't have that ship upgrade and Tally does, we go for Tally instead.
Yeah, if you want everybody to live, you basically 100% need Tali. So it also helps that Tali's loyalty mission is straight up like the shortest one in the entire game. Because of a couple of skips that have been found, like Tali's loyalty mission is literally like 2 minutes or something like that. It's really, really fast.
Yeah, here we're just basically doing a bunch of chores to grab people's loyalty missions. We're gonna open up the thingy majigger, I forget what it is, to get Grunt.
The
our friendly
breed pod.
neighborhood-
Yeah.
Friendly neighborhood Krogan, another body for our loyalty, or our
Oh, that sometimes
Here.
happens. There we go.
and then we're grabbing getting Jack's loyalty mission, and we're basically gonna grab the ship parts from Tally. So I believe we just hit 13K. Woohoo!
Oh yeah. We want to read some donations out.
Yeah, absolutely. We did, in fact, just hit $13,000 raised for Trans Lifeline, and the donation that achieved that goal is $113 from Beep Fizzle, who says, "Did you know that in some spiritual circles, the number 13 is lucky?" Just an interesting little factoid I thought I'd share for no particular reason. As a Helix 13 underscore, I do like that. I do appreciate this. But no, for real, we just hit $13,000 raised for Trans Lifeline. That is absolutely fantastic. Let's keep it going.
Awesome. We got time for a little bit more if we want to read more donations or do any more plugs.
I did want to tell you all a little bit about what Trans Lifeline does. In addition to their crisis hotline and support services, the Trans Lifeline Microgrants program offers grants for legal name changes, updated name and gender markers on IDs and passports, immigration documents, and more. Microgrants are available periodically throughout the year, and you can subscribe to be notified when applications open. To learn more about this program, including how to apply for a microgrant, please visit translifeline.org/microgrants. So that's a little bit about what your donations help support.
Awesome. So right now we're heading to the Rosetta Nebula, and we're going to be doing Jacob's loyalty mission after we do what's called an N7 mission. So normally when we are doing an any percent run, we actually do a lot of these N7 missions. They're basically like side missions that aren't super integral to the story. Normally we do a lot of these because they're very, very quick. And we need to basically do a certain amount of missions to continue on with the main story. Thankfully, we don't have to do too many of these because we do the loyalty missions instead. And even though the loyalty missions are longer, it kind of makes it so there's not a super large difference in category times, even though they're like really different runs, because it still fills the same like mission parameters. Because it's one we can get really quickly, we just do it to get to that mission timer or the mission count.
Yeah, it's in case you're wondering, it is 5 missions after Horizon before you have to go to the collector ship. The elusive man calls you, you are locked out of doing anything else, and you have to just go do collector ship. So in any percent, like we just do 5 and 7 missions like really, really fast to trigger it, like as soon as possible. And then right after that, we go immediately to Reaper IFF.
Yep.
And yeah, the route for No One Left Behind like generally follows that, like Demonic said. We just feel like we swap some of the N7 missions with these loyalty missions. We're gonna go ahead and do Jacob right now.
Oh, it got me like, there we go. Yeah. These scanning the planets is honestly my least favorite part about the run, even though it's such a like mini thing. Oh no.
Luckily, it isn't RNG where the beacon, like the marker, is to like investigate the planet. It's always in the same spot. So once you have enough experience, you just like can like immediately just like zip over to where the marker is.
Yeah. It's very fun. Like for me, I like have a general idea of where they are. I know it's like center left or top right or something like that. So I kind of just like do in that general area and hope for the best. And then you just see like Mike and Sanjan do it, and it's just like immediate. I'm like, hold on, I wasn't even noticing it yet. So we're going to do a kind of a weird skip here. We're going to do a quick save and quick load. And then I'm going to be holding the dialogue wheel trigger as I pass through a cutscene. And that's kind of going to delay it, so I skip it entirely. And makes it so we don't actually trigger a cutscene right there. We're going to do one later on that's saves like significantly more time on Tally's mission. That Jacob one only saves a couple of seconds, but it's like just like a really nice little skip that we get to do, thankfully.
Normally there's that NPC you saw to the left who like just goes up and talks to us and like kind of explains the situation generally to us. But obviously it's unskippable dialogue, really, really slow. This is a bug we've known about for a while, but I think Sanjan is like the one who really like ironed out like why it happens. It's basically tied to coming out of a load. If you're just like in the loading screen, I think, or like generally after it, if you're like just skipping like dialogue really, really fast, the game will just bug out any dialogue that you try to get into, which includes that NPC dialogue right there. To explain like lore wise what's going on right here, so we're doing Jacob's loyalty mission. He hit us up. He said that there was a beacon that was found from his dad's ship, which supposedly crashed like a decade ago, and Jacob just wants to go investigate, find out what's going on, like just get some closure on what happened to his dad. And the truth of what happened is pretty horrific. We find out that the crew that like is living here on the planet, they ate the food that is local to this planet, and that caused like mental degradation basically. And Jacob's dad, as the de facto captain, basically hoarded all the ship's food for himself, so he was the only one that didn't suffer from the mental degradation, and he just completely abused like the crewmates that were with him.
He's
So-
basically a bad person TM.
Yeah, TLDR, Jacob's dad is a horrible, horrible person.
Yeah. Thankfully, it's kind of one of the easier missions to do, and it's like really easy to get his loyalty because you can't. I don't think you could like really mess that one up, whereas you can mess up some of the other ones.
Yeah, the thing is that there's two other characters that you can do, either Garrus or Miranda. Miranda's actually really bad to do because we also do Jax, and we did Jax and then Miranda, so we get an extra cutscene where Miranda and Jack could duke it out. And Garrus's mission requires you going to the Citadel, and it's just longer. And Jacob's loyalty mission, so probably do Jacob's loyalty mission.
Yeah, like unfortunately, like Miranda's loyalty mission, while it would be nice to do, and if Miranda's loyalty mission is also much faster due to a skip that Sanjan found not too long ago. However, because we have to go to Ilium and watch an unskippable cutscene, and then go to a bar at the other end of the map there, and then once we finish Miranda's mission, like we don't get teleported back to the Normandy. It just takes forever, and it's kind of the same way with Garrus's loyalty mission. It's just like really, really unoptimal, unfortunately, compared to Jacob's loyalty mission, which is just like really fast in comparison.
So we're gonna do a quick save and quick load, which is gonna land us down here. Normally we land down at the very bottom, but we can just drop down right there. Perfect. But yeah, basically what happened is Jack was like experimented on and tortured as a child, and eventually broke out. But we are coming back now to blow it up to give her some closure on it. And it's actually kind of funny because we bring Miranda along, and Miranda's part of the group that basically experimented on her. So it's very fun to like listen to the dialogue about like between them when you're playing on this level, because it's, you know, Jack explaining like what happened and Miranda trying to justify it.
Yeah, it's actually also funny because Jack's supposed to be this all-powerful biotic, like you see it in cutscenes, but in gameplay,
Yeah, gameplay, she's
like,
arguably the worst.
powerful.
Yeah. Her and Jacob, I think, are like probably the two weakest squad mates, which is pretty funny because we're gonna have to use them later on, which we'll talk about when we get there.
Here's another puzzle, man.
Yeah, Jack's a great companion story-wise. Just when it comes to gameplay, she's not amazing.
I'm a dangerous bitch, but then I'm a little girl again.
But yeah, I guess we should talk about it in case people don't know. When we say no one left behind, basically, oh, that's not great.
Ooh. If you read one of these, it should be fine, maybe. Yeah, you don't have it back yet.
Yeah, I used it, unfortunately. This game allows, like, I think, like, 12 companions is, like, the very last count of it. And depending on your choices throughout the game, like what loyalty missions you do, some of your other choices, and who you send out during the suicide mission, people can like live or die. So in any percent, literally everybody, including Shepard, dies because we go for the fastest ending. That basically means like we don't do any of the loyalty missions. We only get one of the ship upgrades, so overall it's not that great. No one left behind, everybody lives. So everybody that we recruit survives. Technically, oh yeah, we kind of let this go through.
Nobody tells me.
Yeah, basically, any percent, everybody dies. No one left behind, everyone lives.
Place to the ground is the important.
You don't recruit all squad mates, so the rest of the squad mates that you don't recruit, like Kazumi, Thane, and Tamara, I don't know, they just go touch grass or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just
Also-
go on with their lives.
Yeah.
You're gonna notice something a little bit weird here. We had it earlier in Tally's recruitment, but this is where it starts to become noticeable. You're gonna see some awkward eyes. I do apologize for that if it does give you nightmares. What's happening here is the speedrun mod removes all the pre-rendered cutscenes in this game, but like the game still continues on in engines, so it's basically showing us what is supposed to be hidden by the pre-rendered cutscenes, and it's kind of nightmare fuel for sure.
Yeah, again, the speedrun mod was designed by Jade, shout outs to her, in a way that it would basically just prevent timer abuse, like by just like allowing those pre-rendered cutscenes to play. You just save a lot of time for no reason. So it's a thing we agreed on as a community that like should not be a thing.
Yeah. So now we are heading to do a another N7 mission. This one's gonna be pretty quick as well.
Yeah, this is like one of the faster ones
Oh, I
too.
went the wrong one. That's fine.
This is probably like one of, if not one of the fastest one, just because this mission requires you to basically save a bunch of crates, and there's three mechs trying to eat them all. And then basically the way to solve it is just to, the good old classic cane.
It's a really good answer for pretty much everything.
Yeah, by just shooting the correct spot right there, you kill these 3 mechs as they spawn in, which is like by far the fastest way to complete this mission. And then now the elusive man wants to talk to us. Good old Tim. Tell us to investigate that derelict collector ship.
Yeah, the definitely abandoned collector ship that doesn't have
100%.
anybody on it.
So yeah, this mission used to be a massive pain. This has like one of the scarier skips that you have to do in the run, because you have to basically bypass a death plane, like a very big death plane. However, a discovery we made not too long ago with the attack menu basically made this skip like super free now. So it's not nearly as bad anymore.
You'll see the cooler application of it a little bit later, but the tactical menu also allows us to quote-unquote cheat death.
Yeah, it's very nice too, because we basically have a huge walking section for a couple of minutes, so it's like you're already halfway through your run, and you have to do this like really long walking section, and then just to lose your run there is like very frustrating. But on the bright side, because this is a walking section with nothing going on, we have time for donations.
Ah, perfect. I have $31 here from Non-Binary Code, who says, Haiku time. Fast, let's fur and go. For Mass Effect from Donos. Fast fights and trans rights. $31 because it's my favorite number backwards. That also makes our donation total a palindrome, which is a lot of fun. Chat's been talking about that. Thank you so much. I do also want to give an update on our incentives. We have 2 incentives left in the marathon, both for our finale, Splatoon 3. The Inkling versus Octoling bid war has seen some action. Octoling is in the lead by a single dollar. And the After Alterna bonus level is at 31 out of $1,500. And remember, if, or rather when we meet that bonus level incentive, it will be a new Fastest Furs Fall Fest PB. Keep those donations coming. Give me some stuff to read.
Awesome. So we're coming up to the skip right here. Normally in this area, when we do an elevator, we have to kind of avoid a moving death plane, which is what made this so scary for the longest time. However, if you are in the attack menu, you will continue to fall, but you will avoid death planes. So we basically come over here and just do this. We take damage right there, and we avoid the death plane. So it made this area from like pretty consistent, but still very dangerous, to like you will get it every single time.
Yeah, this is like the actual hardest part of the skip now, which is this cane shot.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's okay. You can still do the other setup.
Yeah, so the boss here appears after Edie talks. Alright, after Edie starts talking, and then that's just basically your cue to for the cane shot to go out. Ideally, you want to basically drop down and hit that dialogue.
Yeah, it can be kind of difficult to do. When it comes to like swapping weapons in this game, we have it like very optimized, where we try to do it as little as possible with the heavy weapons, because it can just be kind of awkward. There isn't like a hotkey, so I can't like hit hotkey 1 for my pistol, hotkey 2 for my assault rifle, etc. It's like you have next weapon and previous weapon and then last weapon, basically, and you have to like remember the order that you do it in.
Yeah, it's like a big learning curve for this game, is actually like knowing when and where to swap weapons and how to optimally do it.
Yeah.
Also, I was gonna say, fun fact, that's the first time you see a Scion. You're supposed to meet a Scion on Horizon, but you kind of skip like 3/4 of that.
Yeah.
The Scions are by far the scariest and easily most overtuned enemy in the entire game. Even on casual, they are just insanely tanky, like just really tanky, and they can kill you very fast.
Yep. So we are going to be picking up something called a Reaper IFF. Basically, we need to go through what's called the Omega Relay, which is a relay into a part of space that the bad guys are coming from. And the only way that we can go through that is with an IFF to basically make us as a friend rather than a foe, so we don't get killed by like the automatic defenses. And we need to go pick up the Reaper IFF. In your casual playthrough, do not do this until you have everything else that you want done. Because when we do this, this is going to set off a mission timer.
Yeah, this is basically like a soft point of no return. So it's like general advice. If you have not played this game casually before, do not do Reaper IFF until you are like sure you want to go complete the game, basically.
Yeah. Thankfully, we only need to do one more loyalty mission that's like required for the run, and then we do an N7 one. So we don't really need to worry about the timer too much. But yeah, if you're doing a casual playthrough, this will turn on the timer.
This mission is also where we've recently found by far, like it's by far the biggest like skip we have found recently.
It's also one of the hardest ones too. This
it
entire
is scary.
mission, I would say, is like the hardest mission in the entire game, because there's just so much of it that can go wrong, and you don't really have backups to recover, other than just load a save. Which, if you're going for a top time, it's basically your run's already dead.
So this skip with the tactical menu, if you fail it, it's like a 20-minute time loss, and 20 minutes, 20 second time loss. And that's a lot in this game.
Yeah. For reference, like between Mike and Sanjan, there's like about a minute-ish between your times in almost all your categories, so that's a good chunk right there. But yeah, so we're going to be collecting this, again, very scary mission, so hopefully everything works out okay. It'll probably take us a couple times to do it, but basically we need to do the tac menu to avoid another death plane, but we have to be much more specific when we start and stop it.
Yeah, how you want to do this tactical menu skip is basically you want to hold the tactical menu when it's on a loading screen, and then when that first loading screen kind of completes, you want to hold off of it. So if you like wait too long, then there's a second loading screen that you hit that will be a death plane. So essentially, you need to be kind of like in between.
Yeah, it's very precise. All right, let's moment of truth. So this elevator up here. We're gonna do a double melee abuse here.
I like it too early.
Yeah. So there's basically a trigger that we're trying to hit right here, where if we do it correctly, the game will just basically teleport us immediately to the next part of the mission. It's really, really weird. It's like I think it's like the only skip where we do this type of method to hit this trigger. It's very, very strange.
There we go. Okay, second try.
Nice.
That's not bad. We are not out of the woods yet, though. This run through is like the scariest one in the entire game.
Yeah, there's gonna be a return of our friends, the Scions, who are like the ultimate trolls in this mission. They are so bad.
Yeah, we also need our teammates not to die either.
Possibly troll you, and yeah, your teammates can die very easily here. Ideally, you want both of them alive.
Oh, that's not great. That's not great.
Oh, that's very annoying.
There's another thing that can happen here. You can just get stun locked to death. I've had it happen before to me, where like just the enemies just like pile on top of you and just don't stop.
Yeah. Thankfully, both our companions are alive, which is good.
So Demonic is gonna charge his Scion right here and then just like blast him down as fast as possible. And then I guess we're doing this one as well.
Yeah, for safety, you can also kill the second one, but just like the top runs will usually just only kill one, and with this you only have like 7-10 seconds to get all of these puzzles, or else you're gonna be thrown to combat.
So funny thing, if you want to be insanely optimal, you could actually just go ahead and skip killing both these Scions and just try to do the puzzle as fast as possible. I've done it a few times. It's really, really hard. It's really scary. I don't do it actually in real attempts because it's so inconsistent.
Yeah.
But it does save like a few seconds though.
Hi, Legion.
It's a good IL strategy, at least.
Yeah, definitely. But it's super, super scary.
I think we need Cerberus.
Oh, you saved Legion.
I did. I made sure.
Don't worry. Well, he's not gonna. Leech is
We gotta
like a
get
wake
the T pose later.
Oh yeah.
So
so now we're
here-
gonna be. Oh, go ahead, Sanchan.
up. Here we're now gonna get the final loyalty mission that we're gonna do. We're gonna grab a Tally's loyalty mission. Basically, the short summary of it is, like she got into trouble with the flotilla fleet because her dad did something sketchy, and then now we have to go back to the flotilla and then investigate what's going on.
Yeah, there's basically a mock trial going on for Tali and we're just gonna represent her as her lawyer.
Fuel reserves at 50%.
But yeah, despite what it might seem like, this mission is really, really short. It's so short with the skips that we have in place.
Also, we get another
Yeah.
one of the pre-rendered cutscene kind of weird stuff going on. Normally, we don't see this in the 80% run. Same thing with the one on Jack, but don't worry, there's going to be one that's much worse. I promise you. But yeah. This is also kind of one of the reasons why I think technically if you did a speedrun without the speedrun mod, you could possibly get it faster, because normally the game, when you don't have the speedrun mod, it'll pause the timer here on these pre-rendered cutscenes. Yeah, thankfully there aren't.
This, by the way.
Yeah. Thankfully there aren't too many like cutscenes in this game.
So Demonic's gonna do the same thing here as we did with the
Oh yeah.
Jacob cutscene. So he's gonna save and load here. He's gonna spam that work man button here. I mean the dialogue, just so that it's loads a little bit slower, and then like quickly mash through this cutscene, and then as you see, we skipped like a whole bunch of like introductory trials cutscene shenanigans here.
Yeah.
If you actually look to the back, like they're all kind of like posing. But
Yeah.
since, basically mashed it up cutscene, it didn't matter.
Yeah, it just bugs out the game and makes it so the game is not able to place the NPCs in their correct spots, so they're all just like lined up in rows. It's really funny.
Yeah, but basically what's going on is Tali is accused of sending Geth technology to the migrant fleet, which basically is like, not good, because now we can see that the Geth were activated. We're gonna learn that basically what happened is Tali's dad was trying to find research on ways to destroy the Geth, and they ended up actually making like the Geth come back basically and activating them. So, and they don't want them to get into the systems, because basically if that happens, some bad stuff happens. Also, normally you're supposed to give Talia a hug here, but if you mash left click there for whatever reason, it just doesn't do the hug. But yeah, Tali's dad was right there, so sadly he died.
They didn't give Tally a hug. It's okay.
I know. It's for
okay, going
speed chat.
fast-
You guys understand.
Going fast fixes everything. I think Tally will learn that.
Yeah. I also
You
have to
don't
be
need hugs, you
very
need
careful
speed.
here. This is like one of the few dialogue options that if you do not do the correct one, very bad stuff happens.
We cleared the gap. Did you find
Does Captain Shepard have any...
Yeah, you want to
Okay.
pick either the Paragon or the Renegade option. Fun fact, the Renegade option loses you like a second or so,
Never had anyone speak like that.
because
Yeah.
the dialogue is longer. And if
You
you
could-
pick the other dialogue where like you allow Tally to get exiled, it's like 10-15 seconds longer. And then if you pick the other dialogue where you give the evidence, you don't get Tally's loyalty. So
Yeah, which is just gonna make it so we cannot actually do the category. You can press F here, by the way.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
I never knew this. Okay, well that's a new time save for when I start running this game again. I actually did not know that. I always ran back.
Gonna buy some fuel here. So in case you're wondering why we're doing all these missions now that we have the Reaper IFF, is that soft point of no return we were talking about earlier. There's 2 missions that we could do here before we're allowed to use the Reaper IFF, and then this event is going to happen, which we'll talk about when we get to it. So in this category, we just go ahead and do the Tali loyalty mission, so we have our last like loyal squad mate that we need to get everybody out alive at the end. And then we're just going to go ahead and do this N7 mission that is by the Omega system, where the Omega 4 relay is, which we need to get to the collector base. And we do this N7 mission specifically because it is really fast. we're gonna go ahead and just do 2 elevators right here, and that's gonna take us above this base.
This one's kind of a precise
Yeah,
clicker
this
elevator. Just
that box is like a giant troll. It is. You can just lose a lot of time randomly to it not giving you the elevator, basically.
Yeah,
and
elevators
you
look
can
kind
very
of
easily
easy, but
fall.
elevators look kind of easy, but like they're all like very precise in their own way, and all have like their different like angles and positions that you can use. Yeah, I promise it's harder than I'm actually making it look.
And yeah, now we're going to be going to the Omega 4 relay, which is over here in the main system. And that's going to go ahead and initiate this event right here.
Yeah, basically, what happens here is plot convenience. All the Shepard and squad mates and crew basically go away, and then in classic fashion, collectors invade the ship, and then all the crew gets kidnapped except for Joker.
And Edie, hold on, we can't forget her, even though she's an AI.
She's part of the Normandy though, but in this mission too, she also kind of like gets her AI unlocked, which definitely doesn't have any implications in Mass Effect 3. No way, Jose.
Of course not. Oh, also, don't look at Joker's eyes. It's fine. He's okay, guys. Yeah, that's normal. That's totally fine. I'm not sure if you guys remember this, but there's this really old meme right around when Mass Effect just came out. The IS special eyes, and it's Shepard with these eyes like freaking out. And I always remember that meme every time I see Joker like that. But yeah, so basically ship's being invaded, and we actually get to play as Joker. And this is the only time in the entirety of the trilogy that you play as somebody other than Shepard.
I think there is.
Does the mech count in Arrival?
Yeah,
I don't think it counts because it's still controlled by Shepard.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But yeah, this is like the first time where it's like really like another person that we're playing as. Yeah, so this is basically just a whole W section. We're trying to get to Edie, and then we're going to go get her over into the engine to override some stuff. So we have time for donations.
Alright, sounds good. And here's another reminder about that. Splatoon 3 After Alterna bonus level incentive, 31 of $1,500, working toward a Fastest FursFall Fest PB, and of course the Inkling versus Octoling bid war. Octoling is in the lead with $1. So, if you like Inkling, it's right there for the taking. But if you like Octoling, you might need to defend your territory a little bit. But don't forget about that bonus level too. Also, don't forget about the shirts. There are 3 marathon shirts exclusive to Fall Fest 2022, and those will be unavailable soon because this is our second to last run.
Yeah. So what's going on right here, this is, I think, because of the speedrun mod, is some like cutscenes and actions don't work properly. Like we can see Legion right there doing a little T-pose. He's just kind of vibing. But yeah, here we go. We picked up Edie and we're heading down. Fun fact, these are the only pre-rendered cutscenes that we watched in the entire run, due to the fact that they are the only ones in the game where if you remove them, it'll cause your game to soft lock. So unfortunately, we couldn't get rid of all of them.
Yeah, there's another pre-rendered cutscene we have to watch on Ilium for the Shadow Broker DLC. However, that's only relevant to all mission screens, which is basically our equivalent to a 100% category, which is about 4 hours long with the DLC.
Yeah, it's
Also,
a really hard category.
Also, fun fact: if you take this path, you don't have to wait for the Scion or their Scion to drop.
Yeah, it's like a very minor skip. We just don't go where the game tells us to go, and it's a lot faster, actually.
Yeah. I would have guessed that they would have been like, if you went the wrong way, like the non-intended path, it would have just had you fail. But I guess they wanted to, I don't know, give a little bit of an extra for people who explored. Yeah, Joker's not doing too good. He took a pretty nasty fall right there. And if you guys don't know Joker's lore, he's not very good at taking hits. So he's in a pretty bad mood.
He has bone brittle disease, which means that his legs just like aren't in the best shape. But to make up for that, he's the best pilot in the galaxy.
And ventriloquist too. Able to talk without even moving his mouth. It's pretty impressive. Yeah, so now we are heading over to basically the kind of the last mission. So no one left behind here. Just want to double check. I have to send Tally back with the crew, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just was making sure I need to be very careful when we do that part. But yeah, this is kind of the point of no return. Game gives you like, this is it. If we go through here, we're not coming back. And Shepard's like, I have to rescue everybody and, you know, be the hero. Which is counter to what he does in 80%.
Yeah, the thing is with this game is like after everyone gets kidnapped, you basically kind of want to go to the mission immediately, because if you do other missions, your crew will die. So like they're like the second mission or so that you complete, some of your crewmates will die, and then after the third one, all of your crew will die. So basically, this is kind of like if you want everyone to live, a point of no return.
Yeah.
This is actually a big part where like a lot of people in their casual playthroughs tend to lose squad mates because they just don't know about the ship parts. Or it's like a kind of a minor thing the game mentions, but like it's very easy to forget if you're like not paying attention.
Yeah. The game basically like wants you to like listen to your companions and actually talk to them, and it rewards you, because otherwise Jack would not be doing so hot right now. If you're doing this casually, when you do not have these ship parts over, there's actually like a really complicated system as to who the game like kills and doesn't kill. Jack is always the first like victim, but the rest of them are based off of loyalties and priorities and all that stuff.
Yeah, like I think the last check for Garrus's ship upgrade, normally like the priority falls on Thane if you have him to die. However, if you don't have him recruited or he's loyal, then it would just immediately go to Garrus and so on and so forth until it finds somebody you can kill.
Well, I guess it's a good thing we upgraded. We're going in.
And of course, we got some great music going on right now, because it's Mass Effect, so of course it's gonna have good music. This is also where we would be seeing Kasumi in the 80% run get destroyed. So thankfully, you know, you guys were able to do the incentive. You donated for that, so again, thank you for that. And now we get to see Tally totally safe and fine. It's great.
Yeah, actually, like even in an 90% versus this, like getting your squad mates killed is slower, because there's a cutscene of them dying, and then Joker says something about it.
Yeah, it just makes the cutscenes longer, which is why, like, recently in the 90% route, we actually started grabbing the Jacob ship part, because while it does take a little bit longer to do the menuing to buy the ship part, you save, like, I think almost over 10 seconds in just, like, not having to watch as many cutscenes in this part. So it's, like, very slightly faster.
It also makes the suicide mission in 80% a little bit easier, because you get to bring Miranda with you.
Yeah, yeah.
It keeps Jack alive, so you can use her for a section later on, and then have Miranda as a companion.
Get in close and finish him off. Everybody hold on. Gonna be a wild ride. Give him hell, girl.
Look out!
Yeah, each of these basically performs kind of like the ship checks for each of the parts.
Yeah. Also, again, thank you for getting the incentive fulfilled. Otherwise, Garrus would be not having a great time right now.
You okay? I think I broke a rib. Or all of them.
Multiple core systems overloaded during the crash.
It's okay, but in 80%, Jack gets to, you know,
We all knew this was likely a one-way
she
trip.
gets to solo hold the line.
I'll do whatever it takes to stop the collectors. But
Yeah, she's great at it. I'm sure she'll be fine. I mean, she's like supposed to be the perfect human being, you know?
Joker.
I thought that was Miranda.
Miranda.
Oh, right, Jack. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Jack
There's
is
so many companions.
my favorite character who is only overpowered in cutscenes. Outside of Kai Lang in ME3.
Mhm.
Oh man, Kat.
Poor Kai. Yeah, so this is the area where basically we're like starting to fulfill like roles, and we need specific people to be doing specific things. So it's why we got the 3 that we needed, is because if you don't have them, then bad things
You
happen.
can skip through here.
I don't know why I wasn't going through. So we choose Tally for the specialist to unlock the door, because she's a hacker, and then we choose Jacob to lead the other squad. Yeah, and then we can take Miranda and Morden with us.
Yeah, Jacob suggests to use him for the tech, but don't listen to him.
All right, so yeah, a pretty important thing we're going to do right here was we're actually going to turn the autosaves on now. And the reason for that is because it's going to help us for the final boss to load from an autosave. It's going to make the boss just like take like less tanky overall. We don't know why this happens, but for some boss fights, if you load an autosave like right before the boss fight, like it just makes the fight like way easier.
Yeah,
they
I don't know
take
if it's
more
like a
damage from the
DA
cane,
reason or
which
something
is-
like that, but
They take more damage from the cane overall, which is actually like really important for some of the fights. This one especially because for the ending part we won't have our ideal squad mates, which is
Yeah.
actually a huge difference.
This category is actually the one that has the hardest like final auto scroller out of all of them, just because you're at level cap and you have Jack and Jacob, J and J, who are just not as strong as Morton and Miranda, as you can imagine.
Yeah, at least you can like kind of do some pretty cool strats with them that you don't get to see with Morton and Miranda, but it's still it's pretty tough.
also, if you're wondering, normally you're supposed to be like opening up these like heat exchanges for Tally so she doesn't like burn to death. However, this is something that one of the actual developers told us that if we just like go to the very end and choose the last one, it just does it automatically. Yeah, I want to do this very slowly, just in case, you know, want to make sure that we choose the right people for this.
Not everyone. I could do it too.
So we're doing Jack right here, even though Miranda's like, I can do it.
Who should lead the diversion?
And then diversion team is going to be Jacob again.
I'll keep the defenders busy while
What
you
about me? We can't afford to go back, Shepard.
And then we send back Tally with them because Tally has a very low score to hold the line. So we send back Tally, and that way everybody who we leave behind is like, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, basically whoever you send back with the squad to like escort them, they have to be loyal to both escort the squad back like safely and also to live. If they're not loyal, then they'll escort the squad back, but then they die like protecting them. Like it happens with every single squad mate, I'm pretty sure.
I think Miranda is the only one who can do it without being loyal.
Miranda is the one who can lead the squad while not being loyal here.
You're right. For whatever reason, this game,
Yeah.
again, it's a really complicated system when you get down into the math of it, especially the hold the line thing. But basically, like, a lot of this is just us, like, trying to do appropriate math.
Yeah, basically the beefy squad mates are good at holding the line, which, you know, we happen to have.
Yeah,
Most of our
it's,
squads, we have our beefy.
Yeah, it's Garrus, Grunt, and Zaid who by far like who
Ready to move up, Commander.
like offer the most like defense points for like leaving behind to defend the line.
All clear.
Even when they're not loyal, they have the most points.
Yeah. Also, as you can see right there, there's an enemy called the Harbinger that can take over like these normal enemies. He's basically a souped up version. He always wants to be the last one we kill because if we kill him first, he can actually jump to other enemies. So if we kill him last, then he has no one else to jump to, so we can do the fight a little bit more easily. Just kind of like a minor combat optimization there.
It's also important to note right here. So this is an auto scroller, a pretty lengthy one. I think it's one of the lengthiest in the game. And if you're wondering, hey, what couldn't you just like run to the end here? Well, if we leave the bubble, then we're gonna start getting hit by these swarms. However, we do know of a way to get all the way to the end right here using our bonus power, which is Reeve, to keep us alive. If we Reeve one of these husks, one of these enemies that don't have any armor or anything like that, then it'll just like keep giving us iframes instead of letting us die to these swarms. However, we need to hit these 3 checkpoints basically where the bubble holder stops, and then we need to talk to them. There's 3 of those. We need to do all of them, or else if we get to the end without hitting those 3 like checkpoints, so those 3 like checks, the progress flags basically, then the game will just like hard soft lock. Like you'll just get a black screen and just like not be able to continue the game. It is pretty funny. It's pretty unfortunate too, because if we were able to skip this auto scroller, it would save a lot of time.
Yeah. Also, the reason that we use the cane right there is because whenever we go through like a new area in this suicide mission, it'll just automatically give us all of our ammo back. So we don't need the autosave bug anymore. And it, again, makes that fight easier. So it's kind of a win-win.
Yeah, and this is by far the hardest part of this segment as well. If you want to go ahead,
This
Sanjin.
last part is like a little bit RNG because you basically kind of have to like kill a bunch of these mobs in order to progress, but you still don't know like the exact reason like how to get the prompt from Jack saying that she's good to go as fast as possible. But that's a little, but yeah, there's
Yeah.
only one Scion here, and then the rest of these are just husks that you're going to shockwave to death.
Yeah, and sometimes they can be a little bit annoying.
There's one. Oh,
Let me know when you're ready to move up, Commander.
Excellent.
Moving out.
and yeah, so why Reeve is such a good ability is that at max rank especially, it kind of like, if your enemy's in red HP left, it'll basically siphon HP back, which gives us iframes and pretty much allows us to live even in the most sketchiest of situations, as long as you have an organic enemy in red.
First.
Yeah, so we're gonna be doing like kind of a skip right here. So now that we've hit those 3 progress flags I was talking about, we can just go ahead and reave one of these husks, and it gives us just enough time right here as they're coming in to like run all the way to the end, which saves up half the amount of time actually on that last segment.
Yeah, and so now we're choosing Jacob and Jack, just correcting with you guys, making sure, yes?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
The reason, so you can't bring anyone else because for this last part, you need loyal squad mates or else they will die, and that voids the achievement. So that's why we're
And
on a
then
big budget here. We get to
Cool.
do some pretty cool strats. We're gonna put a pull on before our things, and
I'd also
I-
take out the pistol
yeah,
for this
I'd
part.
take out the pistol too. Yeah, this first part you're gonna want the pistol just because like you don't have as much ammo, and because we forgot to mention, but this is the original version of this game, not the Legendary Edition. If this was Legendary Edition, we wouldn't be able to basically do like any of these glitches, pretty much, except for the autosave glitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so in the OG version of the game, this is something like a lot of people have probably encountered if you've played this game back in the day. It is very stingy about ammo, especially on this last part. Ammo is just very, very like a problematic element of this part. So yeah, the reason we were going ahead and just using the pistol right there is just to save on a little bit of ammo for AR, which we need for this a couple of these platforms coming up, which are going to have some scions and all that stuff.
Yeah, normally you have Incinerate here, which is, you know, really easy, but sadly we don't have that on this one anymore. So this basically area gets like a little bit harder. I'm just gonna take it like super safe.
You gotta be careful here.
Yeah. There we go.
And yeah, the reason why it just takes so much ammo is these scions, because we don't have Miranda and her weapon damage. These scions are gonna take like 3 years to kill.
Yeah, and also we are at level cap at this part. We're at level 30. Normally on any percent, we're around like 27, 28, but we are 30 here. So these scions are super tanky,
Yeah.
as you can see.
You're gonna want to take your pistol out for
Oh, we're good. I think.
this. Oh, you got ammo. Not too bad. Okay. If you were really low on ammo, generally I would take out the pistol for this next section, even though it's a little dangerous. But you're just usually like that low on ammo.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Harbinger on this next part right here is a secret boss almost. He can be
Yeah.
really annoying. I've lost runs to him before. He
We
can
also
just,
have
nuke you
changed the
down really
setting.
fast.
Yeah, we've also changed the setting. When you're at max level, you can like get 2 options for charge. We used to run with one option basically, now we run with the other. But because we run with the other, we can't stumble enemies as easily when we charge at them, including this guy. So I remember Mike found it the hard way where he charged at it, didn't get the stumble they normally did, and just got nuked down. So this is a very scary part if you're on PV pace. Thankfully, we get an autosave like literally right here, so if we die, it's not like that big of a deal in a marathon setting. But when you're on like a really good run, it can be very painful.
Yeah, so you have to kill the Harbinger spawns here immediately. Yeah,
I'm just gonna take this
like,
very safe, yeah. That should be okay.
Don't know if you're gonna have enough ammo.
I
Well,
think
actually,
no, it's enough ammo.
yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna go to the attack menu right here. I'm gonna use that ability right there, that ability, and then that. Perfect. And that is all 4 tubes down in 1 cycle. So we're gonna get some dialogue here, and we're coming up on time here in a few minutes. We just gotta defeat the very last boss. This one can be a little bit harder, especially with this. So we're gonna do a quick save. That's gonna restart the fight.
Yeah, so we throw the cane here and then use like a bunch of our abilities on it, as well as the read. But we have to do extra damage on here because it says no one left behind and we don't have Miranda.
And no, I missed that. That's fine.
Oh, that was one hit from death. Yeah, this fight's a lot of time because we're just waiting for it to come up, but it'll be time very soon here.
And time.
GG.
GG.
So thank you everybody so much for watching. We had a little bit of weird stuff happen, but that's all right. I just want to give a quick shout out to my two commentators, Mike and Sanjan, who have been great inspirations and have been extremely helpful in both learning the run, doing the run, and of course doing commentary. I'll let this cutscene play out. I don't know why Jacob is blue, but there we go. We have defeated the bad guys, and everybody should be surviving through this cutscene.
Yeah, if you go ahead and skip to the end, we can check, because there's a unique cutscene that you get to check if everybody's alive.
Yeah. So Jack should wake up here. Yeah, she's fine. Jacob's fine, and we're good to go. Everyone lives, including Garrus and all your favorite companions. But yeah, if you guys want to find more content, I do a lot of games like Mass Effect 2. I also do Control and Thief. You can find me at twitch.tv/DemonicRobots. I'll let my two commentators do their social media plugs as well.
I stream Mass Effect, but I also stream like other RPGs like Octopath. I've done Pokemon speedruns. Yeah, I have a fun RPG kind of group of speedruns that I do, but yeah, you can find me at TTV Sanjana _
Yeah, you can find me over at twitch.tv/MikeWave. I stream like a lot of Mass Effect 2. This is like probably one of my favorite speed games. I also do a lot of Resident Evil. I run Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 3 remake, Resident Evil 1 remake, a lot of RE. I'm a big horror fan, so yeah.
Jacob MVP of the run.
Oh yeah, but thank you everybody so much for having me. Good luck to the next runner who's gonna be doing the finale. Again, I just want to give a shout out to all the people who have been on the tech and the crews and have basically been putting on this marathon. It's a lot of work behind the scenes that doesn't get shown, and I don't think they get enough appreciation. So thank you, my host Helix, great job. Everyone else in the crew, amazing. And I'm gonna pass it off back to you guys.
Great job to you too.